I lost over 110 pounds of fat, and one of the dumbest, most boring tricks I used to do that weighs over 2 pounds, costs around $4, and takes 10 minutes to make. Fairly easily changeable, and just on its own is really good. It's just a cucumber tomato salad. That's it. That's the video. But stay with me because this all means something, and hopefully by the end, you can make your own version of whatever this meal is. It doesn't always have to be tomatoes and cucumbers. Because the reason this works isn't the tomato and cucumber. It's just basic food science, food knowledge. And once you get it, it will change how you snack and maybe eat for good. It did for me. And later, I'm gonna talk about why eating this exact snack at 10 a.m. versus 10 p.m. might actually change how your body burns the fuel. So when I was losing weight, snacking was the thing that kind of kept wrecking me. Not dinner, not lunch, snacks. It was the 3 p.m. handful of something that turned into 4 handfuls, or the mindless grazing while I was making lunch or dinners. And then once I realized the whole snacking situation, I realized I needed something that I could make a very large amount of, and something that I can eat a large amount of that won't really make a big difference. Something that would be like a full bowl, a giant thing, giant portion that would barely make a dent in my calories for the day. And that's why I started leaning on this specific combination. Not because it's exciting. I mean, it's not bad. This is very good on its own. It's really good. But mostly because the combination of this, the calories, is absurd. This is 2 pounds of whole food. It's a tasty 2 pounds. And this entire bowl comes in at 143 calories. For reference, that is less than half of a cookie, handful of peanuts, maybe your favorite soda, and it's super easy to make. So I'm not gonna show washing these. Obviously, you gotta wash everything. This is gonna show up in my members section. But to make this recipe, it's really simple. Grab a couple of big cucumbers, couple of tomatoes. I'm using some plum tomatoes and a handful of these little cherry tomatoes. Then we're just gonna chop everything up. These are hothouse cucumbers or the English cucumber. You can use whatever cucumber you like. These are nice because they're a little bit denser. You get a little bit more of a bite out of them, less seeds, a little bit more packed. So right there's a pound of cucumber, a little over a pound of cucumber. I'm gonna add this into my calorie tracker. 62 calories right there. Phenomenal. Plum tomatoes, 176 grams. That's 32 calories. Now you can add this if you want. I'm gonna thin slice a little bit of red onion, real thin, nothing crazy. I'm gonna go as thin as I can get it. Couldn't find my mandolin. I don't know what happened to it. Now I'm just gonna add a bit of red wine vinegar, try to keep it all in the bowl. A healthy pinch of salt. Now you use the amount of salt you wanna use. I like salt. You can add some oil. I don't think it's necessary. Some people will want to add maybe a teaspoon of oil, but every bit of oil you add, you're going to add another 100 or so calories. The point of this snack is to be able to eat a lot for almost no calories. It's wild. The salt is actually going to pull out some of the water from the cucumber and tomato, and honestly, kind of make the whole thing taste a little bit more like itself. You know, it's not gonna draw the water out and make it taste watery. It's gonna make it taste more vegetable-y. But if you make a big portion of this, there's actually a couple different versions that you can make that all have different benefits, so that way you don't get bored. And I'm gonna tell you about those different versions in a bit, because like I said, it's really not about the cucumbers and tomatoes. Let me show you what I mean, but first let me tell you about today's sponsor. One thing I've always been cautious about is what I feed Walker. He is everything to me, and I want him to feel good and be happy. And as my diet has gotten healthier, I wanted to make sure that his has as well. That's why I switched to Sundays for Dogs. They make real, nutrient-dense, high-quality foods. I got him their chicken recipe, which is chicken, chicken liver, and eggs combined with millet and oats, plus fruits like blueberries and vegetables. And then it's gently air-dried. This was an easy upgrade for me. Walker is 11 years old now. Every year with him matters more and more to me. And I want him to be healthy, happy, and playful for as long as he possibly can. So gang, your dog deserves the best. Switch to Sundays and grab 50% off your first order over at sundaysfordogs.com/stache50 and use code STACHE50. I'll leave the link in the description below. Sundays, thanks for sponsoring today's video and for making food Walker loves. Don't you love it? Yes, you do. Yes, you get so excited. Yeah. So here's the part that actually matters. energy density. It's the number of calories packed into a given weight of food. Chips, for example, are extremely energy dense. Tiny portion, huge calorie hit. Vegetables, specifically these vegetables, are the polar opposite. You would have to eat a enormous portion before the calories ever caught up to the chip portion. Barbara Rolls at Penn State University has run this exact experiment more than once. In one of her studies, people ate a salad before lunch. And when it was a big portion of low energy dense foods, so a large salad not covered in dressing, they ended up eating 12% fewer calories in that same meal. Same person, same appetite, just a different first course. The volume of the meal showed up before the calories started to add up, and their bodies called it quits earlier. So the mechanism of this, what's actually happening? I've talked about this in a couple of videos. Why would volume matter if your body is supposedly counting calories? Your stomach wall is lined with a thing called mechanoreceptors. They're basically like stretch receptors. As food and volume come in, the stomach wall physically expands, and the stretch receptors can tell when it's expanded. Those receptors fire off signals. The signals travel up through your vagus nerve. It's the long nerve that runs from your gut to your brainstem, and from there, it talks to the hypothalamus. That's the part of your brain that's actually deciding whether or not you're hungry. And the biggest thing that once you understand this makes an entire difference in your diet. Your stomach wall cannot physically tell the difference between 2 pounds of Alfredo or 2 pounds of cucumber tomato salad. So this giant bowl for 150 calories should give you the same I'm full signal receptor as the same size bowl of Alfredo at 800 or 900 calories, or even 1200 calories sometimes. So in the end, you're not fighting your biology, you're using it exactly the way that it was supposed to work. And it goes even further than the stomach. New research out of UCSF found that stretch receptors further down in your intestine might actually matter more than the ones in your stomach. They found that activating those alone was enough to shut down the hunger-driving neurons in your brain. So this isn't just a fill up your stomach trick. The fullness signals get reinforced all the way down, which is probably why a big bowl like this might keep me feeling satisfied longer than something you would really expect out of just water-based veggies. So that's the hack, if you want to call it that. I mean, it's not really a hack at all. It's just keeping yourself full. Very, very low calorie dense foods. It's just working a system that your body's had running since before you were born. Now here's the thing, a few different variations of this. If this is just not like a snack to kind of preload your stomach before maybe a large meal like a lunch or dinner to where you want to get fuller quicker. If you want something that's going to keep you fuller maybe a little bit longer, hold you over through the day, even part of a lunch, add some fats. A little bit of olive oil or even some olives. We'll change this from a 2-pound lunch to a little bit more of a sustaining effort. This is only going to add 20 calories here. This is 2 grams of fat. And the fats add something that the base salad doesn't do on its own. They slow gastric emptying. Basically, it puts a little speed bump on how quickly this leaves your stomach. Your body also releases a hormone called CCK when fat hits your gut. And CCK's whole job is to say, slow down, we're still processing this. Now, the honest trade-off is you are adding calories. I mean, I only added 20 calories here, but if you were gonna add maybe a larger portion, some olives with some olive oil, even 100 calories, that's gonna do more of that slow down job. It's gonna turn it more into a meal, but you're giving yourself a longer fullness window. The alternative is really not being hungry for longer, which is pretty nice for, an additional 50 to 100 calories, whatever you add. The other direction, if fullness isn't a problem and blood sugar swings are, add some chickpeas. A half a cup is only around 100 calories. But 4 grams of protein and 4 grams of fiber added to something like this is going to change the meal. Protein and fiber together actually slow down how fast this meal becomes blood sugar. And chickpeas have specifically been shown to blunt post-meal glucose spikes more than a lot of refined carbs do. That's the difference between a snack that might hold you flat and one that will hold you satiated for a couple of hours. That's the version I lean on if it needs to be more than just a snack and lean more into a meal. That was a good chunk of my weight loss. Now, a couple of other low density foods, popcorn. Air popped popcorn, just on its own, no oil. 3 cups is about 100 calories. A big bowl of broth-based veggie soup. This was one of the very first hacks I did at restaurants when I knew I was gonna be getting a big portion of something and I didn't want to stuff my face. I always ordered a vegetable-based soup, something that didn't have a lot of noodles in it. The broth and the veggies will fill up your stomach, so that way when mealtime comes, you're not loading up on bread and pastas and things like that. Broth-based soups really help fill you up. Cottage cheese and cucumber slices, it's something that I grew up with for a long time. I'm kind of back on it again. If you want some protein to kind of ride along with volume, it's a great snack. Now, volume alone isn't the whole story, because honestly, snacking in general has a bad reputation for a reason. There's a UK cohort study that tracked snacking time and weight loss outcomes. People who snacked mid-morning, 10:30 to 11:30 a.m., tended to lose meaningfully less weight than people who didn't snack in that window, in that same window. And it's not because the calories were different. The theory is that the mid-morning snack usually means breakfast didn't do its job. You end up extending your hunger cycle instead of closing it. And then there's another one, a weirder one. A small study leaning on women found that eating the exact same 190 calorie snack at 11 p.m. versus 10 a.m. led to less fat being burned when it was eaten at night. And I know a lot of people are already typing, so you're saying a snack, it's okay if I don't eat it at 11 p.m. And I'm not saying that a cookie at midnight is worse than a cookie at noon. I'm just saying the data backs up something pretty intuitive once you kind of break it all down. A snack that's filling a real gap works differently than a snack that's filling boredom. And that's just simply on how much you're eating through the day. There's also a bigger study, the Zoe Predict research. Over 1,000 people. This one's really cool. They looked at snack quality and timing against actual cardiometabolic markers. And that their headline wasn't snacking is bad. It was that snack quality and timing mattered more than whether you snacked at all. A protein and fiber snack at 3 p.m. is a completely different move than a sugary snack at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. You know, and the big thing is when you make something like this, honestly, it's really good. Like, I'm not saying like you're gonna eat this and say like, oh, I'm forgetting potato chips forever. It's not that good. I love potato chips. I love pretzels. I can reach for pretzels every day. Sometimes I do. But having this around a majority of the time will help. I've definitely eaten a full bowl of this at my desk, then forgot about lunch, which I know is not the goal, but it makes the food signals kind of disappear. So gang, if this is the kind of thing you're into, please click the subscribe button. I don't make these videos to brag about my weight loss. I've gotten some comments like that. I am doing this so that way I can help you achieve the same thing that I have found, which has been incredible. My life is completely different. My life is completely changed. I've been able to do things and experience things that I never thought I'd be able to do before. And I just want you to find the same thing. Thank you for being here. Leave a comment. Let's stay cordial. Let's stay peaceful. I love the engagement and everybody being excited about it. I'll see you in the next one. Cucumbers. I mean, so easy.